Hello everyone, today I'll be sharing with you the best builds and play styles for Hogwarts Legacy that will help you dominate your enemies and progress through the game more easily. Whether you are just starting out or looking to improve your current gameplay, I've got some useful tips that you won't want to miss. And if you found this video helpful, a like and a comment would be greatly appreciated. So without any further delay, let's get started. The first build is going to be your base, a foundation that you can build upon with the other two follow-up builds. When you first start playing the game, you won't have access to all the powerful spells and gear traits right away. So in this first build, I'm going to show you some powerful spell combos, gear traits and talents that you can use early on in the game. This will continue to serve you well even as you progress through the game and gain access to the more advanced spells later on. Let's start with spell combos. I always set up my spells in a specific order to maximize damage output. Here's what I do. I begin with spells that put enemies in an airborne state of vulnerability, like Accio and Levioso. This is because airborne enemy takes 20% more damage. Then I follow up with spells like Descendo to slam them down and inflict even more damage. As they bounce back up, the perfect spell to use after that is Gracious, which freezes your target and makes them take 100% increased damage from your next spell. For that, I usually choose either Defendo or Incendio. Incendio deals more damage but has a limited range, so it's a good idea to combo it with Accio. By stacking up as many vulnerabilities on your target as possible and finishing them off with the damage dealing spells, you will be able to maximize your damage and take down your enemies quickly and effectively. Of course, there are other vulnerabilities you can take advantage of, like curse and stun effects. For example, a troll that misses you and hits the wall will take significantly increased damage from your follow-up attacks. The key here is to experiment and find the spell combos that work best for you. Moving to the talent section, I'm going to list some of the talents that I feel will enrich your gameplay regardless of which playstyle you choose. First up, let's talk about the spells tree. One talent that I strongly recommend is Incendio Mastery, which adds Ring of Fire to your Incendio spell, damaging nearby enemies and setting them on fire. Another great one is Accio Mastery, which allows you to grip multiple enemies at once. These two work well together to grip multiple enemies and blast them with Incendio for some serious damage. Levioso Mastery is another must-have talent for crowd control, as it allows you to levitate multiple targets at once. Defendo Mastery lets you slice through multiple enemies with one spell. Gracious Mastery is also a decent choice, as dealing damage to frozen targets causes a blast that damages nearby enemies. Lastly, Transformation Mastery lets you turn enemies into explosive barrels, which can be efficient in battle against Inferi and spiders. It is worth mentioning that there is a bug in the game that causes all other cursed enemies in the vicinity to die instantly when you use Ancient Magic Throw after transforming a cursed enemy into an explosive barrel. This glitch is not an intended feature, and its skill is quite powerful and broken. Of course, you don't have to pick all these talents, just go with the one that fits your playstyle the best. Moving on to the core talents, there are some really useful talents here as well. I recommend getting all the spell knowledge talents, as this will unlock additional spell diamonds and make it easier for you to slot and access your spells in combat. Ancient Magic Throw Expertise is one of my personal favorites, as it allows you to grab disarmed weapons from enemies and use against them. This is especially useful against goblins and trial guardians. Basic Attack Mastery is also a great choice, as it reduces spell cooldowns every time you use basic attacks. Protego Mastery and Evasion Absorption will help fill your ancient magic meter every time you successfully block or dodge incoming attacks. Swift lets you easily and quickly maneuver around the battlefield, and Perfect Protego unleashes a blast that destroys nearby enemies' shields and knocks them back. There are more talents in this tree that are definitely worth checking out as well. Personally, I don't like the stealth approach in this game, but feel free to explore the stealth tree and pick the talents that fit your playstyle. Finally, we have the Room of the Requirement. One talent that you definitely don't want to miss out is the Duress Potion Potency, which makes you completely immune to all damage during the potion's duration. Maximum Potion Potency will double the effect of the potion from plus 100% increased damage to plus 200% increased damage, and cause your basic attacks during potion duration to break shields. The Focus Potion Potency talent is also great for spamming your most powerful spells, as it continuously reduces their cooldowns. Thunder Brew Potency increases the damage of your potion and doubles the AoE radius. There are plenty of other useful talents in this tree that I will go into more detail about in the next section. Let's talk about gear. It's pretty straightforward, just use the gear that has the best offense and defense stats. This will boost the damage of your spells, basic attacks, and make you overall more powerful. However, you should always aim for legendary quality items, since you cannot apply rank 3 traits to lesser quality gear. Don't worry though, legendary gear is plentiful in the game, and you can usually find a few pieces available in the Hogsmeade shop. As you progress through the story, you will unlock the room of the requirement and gain access to the loom, where you can upgrade your gear and apply different traits. All traits in Hogwarts Legacy stack, and I cannot think of any exception. While you can apply traits that target certain spells like Incendio or Defendo, I recommend focusing on traits that boost your overall damage. The concentration trait is a great one to have on your gear early in the game. If you are looking to farm rank 3 traits, you can find them in different camps scattered throughout the world. Each camp has a chest that can drop random traits ranging from rank 1 to 3. If you are seeking a specific trait, clear the camp, create a manual save game, and open the chest. If you don't get the trait you want, you can load the manual save game and try again. If you are looking for a fun and unique playstyle in Hogwarts Legacy, you might want to check out the Bloom and Doom build, approved by Professor Mirabel Garlic. One of the best things about this build is that you can use some of the plants while sneaking around in stealth mode, and they won't break your cover or give away your position. It is such a fun playstyle to adapt to, as you can sit back and watch your plants devour your helpless enemies. There are 3 types of combat plants you can use in the game. The Venomous Tentacula acts like a turret and shoots acid at nearby enemies, potentially breaking their shields with the Noxious Talent. You can have only 2 of them at any given time on the battlefield, and they have a decent range but not great. You might have to AQ and bring enemies closer to them. The Chinese jumping cabbages keep bouncing on your enemies and biting them, dealing significant damage. They don't break enemy shields on their own, so you will need to help them with that. The most powerful one, however, has to be the Mandrake. One Mandrake Shriek can stun and wipe out a group of enemies even on hard difficulty in a wide area around the player. There are some really helpful talents that can give this build a real edge in combat. For example, the Noxious Talent make your Venomous Tentacula attacks deal an additional 25% damage and break enemies' shields, while the Headache Talent increases Mandrake damage by 25% and extends the duration of their scream by 3 seconds. It is worth noting that there is currently a bug in the game where the Headache Talent also increases the damage of other plants by 25%, so it's definitely a must-have. With Fertilizer Talent you can throw 2 cabbages at a time instead of just 1, and you can have up to 6 of them active on the battlefield at once instead of the usual 3. While this talent doesn't directly increase your cabbage damage, it is incredibly useful for boosting your overall damage output by allowing you to unleash more cabbages on your enemies. To make your plants even more powerful, you can add different traits to your gear that influence their damage. For example, the Fangs trait increases the damage of cabbages, and the Deafening trait increases the damage of your Mandrake, while the Venom trait rank 3 supposedly increases the damage of Venomous Tentacula. Regardless, the strongest trait for this build has to be Herbology rank 3, which improves the damage of all your plants by a whopping 75% per trait. You can have up to 6 of them, which is quite insane because it doesn't just target one plant, but all of them. The playstyle for this build is quite fun. You will blaze both the Chinese Chomping Cabbage and the Venomous Tentacula to ravage your enemies, and then use the Mandrake to stun your enemies and deal high amount of damage at the same time. The only downside is that you have to constantly restock your supply of plants. Buying plants directly from merchants can be costly and unproductive as their supply is limited. However, a great alternative is to buy seeds from Dogweed and Deathcap shop, as well as potting tables from Tomes and Scrolls in Hogsmeade, and grow them in the room of the requirement. It is important to note that each plant requires a specific pot size. For example, cabbages need at least a medium-sized pot, while Tentacula requires a large one. This way you will always have plenty of these deadly flowers to use in battles. If you crave the power that comes with mastering the Dark Arts, then look no further than the Dark Arts build. This build centers around the use of the 3 Unforgivable Curses, along with specific talents and traits to become the ultimate Dark Wizard. The Dark Arts build is currently the strongest in the game, giving you the ability to torture enemies with the Cruciatus Curse, control them like puppets with the Imperious Curse, and even one-shot them with the infamous killing curse Avada Kedavra. To unlock the 3 curses, you will need to follow the side story for our Slytherin companion Sebastian Sallow. The first Unforgivable Curse you will learn is Crucio, obtained during the In the Shadow of the Study side quest. Not only does this curse deal damage over time, but it also stuns your target for 20 seconds, giving you plenty of time to unleash a barrage of spells. However, some enemies like trolls and big spiders are immune to the stun effect. Crucio also places a curse mark on your target, which is important since cursed enemies take increased damage, not just from your spells but from your basic attacks as well. During these quests, your choices won't affect your ability to learn the Unforgivable Curses. You always have the option to accept or reject dark magic during the quest, But even if you choose to refuse, you can return to Sebastian in the Undercroft and ask him to teach you the spells. The second curse, Imperio, can be obtained during the In the Shadow of Time quest. This curse allows you to control an enemy for 10 seconds, making them fight for you. Larger enemies like trolls and infamous foes are especially useful since they deal more damage and mayhem on the battlefield. The final and most powerful curse, Avada Kedavra, is obtained late in the game during the In the Shadow of the Relic quest. This curse can one-shot almost any enemy or boss in the game, regardless of your gear or level difference. However, it comes with a long cooldown of a minute and a half to balance its power. Fortunately, you can reduce the cooldown to around 35 seconds with the help of the focus potion. The playstyle for this build is to apply the curse mark on as many targets around you. The best way I would recommend is opening most fights with Imperio to control one enemy. With Imperio Mastery, the target attack will curse other enemies around you. Use Crucio after that on another enemy. With Crucio Mastery talent, your basic attacks against the target will bounce to hit other targets to deal damage and break their shields, but more importantly to apply more curse marks on them. Finally, with Avada Kedavra Mastery talent, killing one enemy with the killing curse will kill all other cursed enemies, acting like AoE one-shot mechanic. This is why it's important to spread and maintain the curse mark on as many targets in the fight. Enduring Curse talent can certainly help you achieve that, as it extends the duration of the curse from 20 seconds to 40 seconds. Block Curse is another useful talent where dealing damage to one cursed enemy will cause other cursed enemies around to suffer 10% of the damage. There are other useful talents in the tree, but it comes down to your favorite playstyle. I enjoy using Stupefy and Expelliarmus in my playstyle, so the Stunning Curse and the Disarming Curse talents will help spread the curse mark on the victims of these spells. When it comes down to traits that you can apply to your gear, you have different ones that can enhance some of your Unforgivable curses, but the only trait that maximizes the potential of this build is the Unforgivable Trait rank 3. It greatly increases all damage you deal to cursed enemies by 30% for every trait you have on your gear. As long as you maintain the curse mark on your target, this is the most damage boost trait in the entire game. I would have recommended for early game instead of the concentration trait, but without the first two curses and their respective talents, it is difficult to spread the curse mark around and take advantage of the trait. For me, this is my favorite build and preferred playstyle. It is the most powerful in the entire game. However, the downside is that it does require you to invest quite a bit of time in the story and achieve a certain level before you gain access to the Unforgivable curses, especially Avada Kedavra, which unlocks quite late in the game near the end. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this guide helpful in discovering the best build and playstyles for Hogwarts Legacy. Remember, you don't have to limit yourself to one playstyle or build. Experiment and incorporate all the information I provided in this guide into your gameplay. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment down below with your favorite build or playstyle. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date to all my future content. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.